Hey, hello. Welcome to Convos of Coffee. Hi, how's everybody today? Um, I'm here. I'm awake. I actually slept really, really well last night. I don't know how you guys slept, but lately, for some reason, I've been like waking up in the middle of the night, lots of thoughts, lots of like stories in my head. I don't know what's going on, but I slept really well last night, and I woke up this morning like this, which is so weird. I was like super peaceful. Anyway, I'm gonna wait for you all to come in. Margot, I am in a new little spot in my house today, which is where I actually work all the time. It's a little kind of library nook, but it is a little more public. So we might hear some noises today from Margot and others. But I'm going to wait for you guys to show up. I hope everybody's doing great. Hi, Germany. Hi, France. Hi, Bulgaria. Hi. Welcome, Japan. Wow, this is amazing. Like, I'm constantly like blown away every week by how many people are showing up from all over the world. So I am Venezuela. Wow, I've never been to Venezuela. I'd like to go. I hear it's incredible. So I have to do some more traveling. I feel like I need to like travel more and visit you guys. Hi, Hilary Shor. So France, bonjour. So I am excited to speak to one of my very dear friends, inspirations, mentors, women that I absolutely love and count on almost, I'd probably say every day of my life, and have for the last over 10 years. Hilary Shor. Hilary Shor is a very prolific film producer. She produced film like Alfonso Cuarón's Children of Men. She also produced The United States versus Billie Holiday with the wonderful, with Lee Daniels, who I had on the show, who you love. Who's amazing. Also The Butler with Oprah Winfrey. And, I was going to say United States versus Billie Holiday, also with Andra Day, who is such a talent, like amazing. She did The Paperboy with Nicole Kidman and Zac Efron. She was an executive producer on Eye of the Beholder with Ewan McGregor, which is how I actually met her. And now she's working on a new television project, which she's very busy with. So I'm so happy that she can join us today. So, yeah, I'm really excited to welcome Hilary. Hold on one second. Let me get her. Hilary. Okay, this is always the fun part. Hi, Brazil. Hello. So did you guys have your coffees, matchas? How's everyone? Like now, I can't even say good morning because I don't know what time of day it is. Hilary Shore.
Good morning. How are
Hi,
you?
lady. Put your camera down a bit.
Down like
We have to kind of
that.
adjust it. And I'm going to put mine up a bit so we can
How's
see each
that?
other. Well, hi,
Hi,
gorgeous.
darling.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm good.
Good morning. I'm really enjoying this fall weather in LA. And usually I have light streaming in during my office hours. I was just talking to a friend of mine who's essentially my, publicist about something else. And I said, wait a minute, I want to go FaceTime. I want to see how I look. And he goes, you don't have a ring light? How can you not have a ring light? I said, I don't know. Call me crazy. I didn't even have time to dry my hair today. So
You,
hello, all of
well,
Sasha's followers. And you're lucky to be able to follow her. She does these wonderful talks on Tuesday and occasionally Wednesday mornings. And I'm honored to be here because I think there's so much good that can come out of women talking and, or just people talk to others during these trying and it's wonderful and trying times that we're all facing today. So thank you for having me.
thank you for being here, my dear. I was just telling them that I feel like I talk to you every day. If not every day, then it's like, where are you?
Right.
And it's been that way for many years now.
Yep.
And I was so first of all, I just have to tell you, it's funny because I always say good morning, and I can't anymore because everyone's from all over. So we've got
Right.
even East Coast is like it's 1 o'clock. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
okay. You can still have a little something. You can have a glass of water. It doesn't matter, but you've
Exactly.
got something.
Exactly.
We're having a conversation over
Exactly.
whatever. That's
I
the
drank
point.
my
Over our
coffee
kitchen
already this
table,
morning.
right?
Yes.
Did
I
you have a coffee
literally,
this morning?
oh, honey, I had, I got it. I got a new coffee maker. I used to
Mm.
use the Keurig. love you, Keurig, but I did my investigation about the use of plastics, one-time plastics and all of
Yeah.
that. So I got a old-fashioned drip coffee maker.
Oh,
Thank
good.
you, Costco. And so every morning I make 8 cups, and it's never enough because my daughter has one, and then I have three. And I looked at the pot when I came back from my walk, and I said, "Damn, I don't have anything to sip on." So I'm gonna get through. I can get through it.
I,
That's the one thing I can't give up is coffee. I,
so
you know,
I think you probably know this about me. I don't know if you know this about me, but um, I'll have my one in the morning and then I will do something in the afternoon, usually matcha or vice versa, whatever. But I always leave my cup lingering. Like I don't mind if it's cold. So it really annoys Eduardo because he'll walk around, he'll see my cup somewhere in the house, and he always wants to
just that
throw it
scum
out.
on the top,
And I've
right?
had to train him not to throw it out because I enjoy it. Like if I come across it 3 hours later, I'll be
Yeah.
like super happy that I came across it. And he finds that so weird.
Well, my daughter recently came to live with me from the East Coast, where, when she graduated from school, she lived and worked on the East Coast. And then about going on 2 years ago, she came to live with me, and which has just been wonderful. And in the morning, I'll cry out to the other room, "Coffee, Taylor." And the best part of living with her, other than the joy of, having her, not spend that much time on the West Coast, is that 2 cups of coffee that she makes me, but she stops at 2 cups. After that, I'm on my own.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So,
Well, and by the way, you shouldn't have more than 2 cups. That's not necessarily,
well,
you know.
I agree. There's some things that happen as one ages, one
No, I
tries to
don't
hold on to
know.
the
I
top
don't know. Tell me
one.
about it.
I'm speaking to your followers. Let me tell you something, honey. I never thought I was going to
They're all
age, and
young.
then all of a
Nobody is
sudden,
aging.
whoa!
None
Yes,
of none
exactly.
of the
Nobody's aging,
scholars,
but
nobody's aging.
you do have to change your lifestyle. You have to, really pay attention to attempting to exercise. You have to stay out of the sun. I mean, it takes so much effort
Yeah,
and time,
yeah,
and
it's true.
and as somebody who has to keep, hoofing it and working in the entertainment business, I've become very sensitive. And actually, through COVID, I have found I had the time and the interest to kind of change my lifestyle a little bit. And it really has felt good. You're an exercise freak. You were a dancer, you're very physical. I can't get into the Pilates, I can't get into the yoga.
Yeah,
I just can't deal with it. So, but I walk. I
right.
I get my 10,000 steps in a day. I used to get it organically when I lived in New York, and here I have to make the effort, but it pays off. It pays off. You got to keep those bones moving, baby.
You know what? And the other thing I say to so many like people that are like, in their early 30s or whatever, you start early. Like make it a part of your life. Just make it a part of your life because these habits are things that actually pay off later
They
because we
really do.
don't realize. Like if somebody told me, "Oh, when you hit 40, then all of a sudden you have to start thinking about this." But nobody told me
Yeah.
that. I had no idea. I mean, you kind of think about it, but you don't. But frankly, I think all of these things are great habits that we can all sort of, put into our
Yeah.
routine and everything. So,
I think it's really important. And my mother, who lived till 91, I have to say, she said to me, when she was in her last year of ill health, "Do you think there's anything else that I could do?" I said, "Well, you could have maybe eaten a green vegetable on occasion, perhaps a bit of salad, and you could have exercised. And really, but how much farther can you go than 91?" So I guess, I mean, I always say to my daughter, "I'm going to make it to 101, and you just wait." You know?
by the way, by the way, that's not even I believe that you will go
We'll see.
whenever you want to go. No, because you know what? The truth is that I think that taking care of it, and also we're going to talk about that after because I do want to talk about your
Mm.
skincare because even though you don't have your ring light, which is a good
Yeah.
thing, look
This
at
is it,
your
baby.
skin. Like you have the
Yeah.
sickest skin and we have to talk about that. So we're going to come back to that because what I want to talk about, there's a couple of things I want to talk about with you today, which is so couple of things. One is one of the things about Hillary that really attracted me when we first met were a couple of things. One is not just as a producer, but as like a creative person, you have a couple qualities that I feel like everybody needs to have. One of them is that you have a deep, your own life experience has led you to a place where you like to mentor people. You
Very
are,
much so.
you're not judgmental. You are absolutely open. Well, okay, fine, but not really.
Well,
You're not. No, no, no. You think
I'm
you are, but
always
that's like
right.
just,
What do I always tell you? I am always right
that's
about everything.
it's not judgmental. Like thinking that being stubborn is not
Right.
judgmental. Like
Right.
judgmental people, like I feel like you're very and I know this, I'm your friend. Like I feel like you have a very like to each their own, like people live their life. You're around so many artists and you have been around so many eclectic and interesting creative people in your life that I feel like you're just like, hey, you know what, people have good days, they have bad days. Like you have an attitude about it all that's just a bit more, like I feel like open about it, and it's made you a very generous uh friend but also mentor to so many people.
Yeah.
Like you have taken on so many, we can't name them all, but a lot of actors that are in that Rolodex of people and creative people who you take care of, who have slept on your couch, who have
Mhm.
been like, you have taken in. And I want to ask you about that because I feel like, and most recently I did a little advert for Curious Cardinals. That's this amazing mentorship program for
Mhm.
young people and all sorts of people. And I feel like had I not had mentors in my life, I don't know where I would be. And I feel like sometimes we need to seek those people
Yeah.
out. Sometimes they land in your lap and sometimes they don't. And you just need to find people who have your same interests or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so my question to you is there something that happened in your life that got you to a place that
Absolutely.
opened you up to that,
Absolutely.
to being that person?
Absolutely. I was raised on the East Coast. I went to girls' boarding school, which was very unusual for a Jewish girl raised in Washington D.C. And I had a complicated family, a troubled family. Troubled. My parents had a troubled marriage, and eventually they divorced. There's a lot of anger and stress in the household, and so my mother decided to send me to boarding school. Well, I got kicked out of the first one. Then I made it through the second one. Had to go back a year. Let's not talk about that. And then I went to, yes, exactly. And it was the best time of my
I don't
life.
know why that
I
makes me laugh. I shouldn't be laughing at the fact you got kicked out of
got kicked out
school.
of school and I
But
got
that's
invited.
the rebel in you. That's what I like. There's a bit of
Oh,
a,
do you know how many jobs I
yeah.
got fired from when I got to
Really?
LA? Oh, they'd say, come in, Hillary, close the door. Here's your Rolodex. By the way, a Rolodex, darling, is your contacts. All of
Oh
your
yeah. Do people not know what a Rolodex is? I guess not, right?
I don't think they know
It's
what
your it's
Rolodexes
your
are.
contacts.
Your
It's your
contacts.
contacts.
It
But it
used
used
to
to.
be
It was like in a it was
exactly.
paper,
It
like
was
index
paper, little
paper,
note cards.
little note
Little
cards
note
that
cards
had
that
people's
were
phone
on.
numbers on them.
I once had a birthday party where somebody. I used to say, if you're in my Rolodex, you're in the life. I have the golden Rolodex, and for my birthday one year, a friend of mine had a birthday cake, a golden Rolodex. I really, if only I could find a picture of that. So then I went to Smith College, which was a very, at the time, very, now it's a very bastion of women's studies. And I went to Smith College and, did my 4 years there and ended up coming out to the West Coast to work. And my parents just kind of, I'm going to say they abandoned me, but I realized in hindsight it was tough love. You got to make it on your own. They'd given me this fantastic education, all the advantages, and I literally arrived on the West Coast with maybe $500 in the bank and nothing else, and and struggled. I definitely took some wrong turns, had to right myself, but through it, when I got to town, and I slowly started to meet people, and I always say I literally would say, Sasha, who should I meet? Who do you think would be good for me? We had notebooks back then. We didn't have computers. We didn't have iPads. We didn't have, remember, the Blackberries. And I would make lists and I would call people every day and make breakfast, lunches, dinners with them. I had no money, so I
Really?
would expect it. I would expect them to pay for breakfast, lunch, and dinner or whatever. And I networked like no one's business. I mean, it's kind of extraordinary when I think about it. And
But don't you
I
think that's a bit of like that? That's something also. that's in you. Like you are a connector.
Yes, I am.
I'm a connector. I like people. You like
Yeah.
people. I do. I like talking to people. Look at me doing
Mhm.
this. Like I feel like that's
It's a
just a personality type as
it's a
well.
genetic, it's definitely, it's a personality. It's, you're born with it. You
Yeah.
either, I can walk into a room and I don't have fear. I mean, I don't care what it is. I don't care who it is. I don't have any fear, and
I
I
don't
feel
know.
comfortable.
There's somebody we both know that can make us. I'm just joking.
Talk about that off screen.
I'm just-
Um, yeah, but she's gotten hers.
yeah.
Anyway, and more importantly, going back to mentorship. So on my journey, I met people along the way, and they put their hand out to me and lifted me up. They lifted me up with their time. They lifted me up with their advice. They lifted me up with their attention. There were people who, and I was like 15 pounds overweight with bad skin, full on acne, and talk about which really helps the skin now, the oily skin, and, no money for clothes and frizzy bad hair. I'll tell you one time about the time that I permed my colored hair and it all fell out. It
Oh
was
my God.
like, yeah, no, you can't imagine. So for a little time, I was practically bald. And,
I don't know why I like laughing at
they didn't have,
all of your troubles.
beanies were not in at that point. So, and, and people saw something in me. They saw at times a slightly troubled girl with no money, struggling, but they saw within. And it is those people, many of whom have passed, who I honor and I revere, and I try to do what I can since, and I've started my not so brilliant career since things, my work paid off. I, I have used my relationships in a loving and supportive way. And so when you are, and I always say, and that's my dog scratching. When you're in Indiana, please, my love,
Hi,
mommy's talking.
Indiana.
And I know my Indiana. And when I think back on how, I mean, you grew up in LA. I grew up in Washington, D.C. I did not know one person when I came here.
Right.
And those relationships and building those relationships and honoring those relationships and doing the right thing. I always say, I think that I'm not going to say success, but my career has been built on the fact that when I speak to someone, whether it's an agent, whether it's a manager, an actor, there is an authenticity of the truth that I speak. I do not lie. I do not cheat. I try to do the right thing always. And ultimately, those are the building blocks. Maybe I'll never be, and I'm not going to use any names, some of these producers, but I have a moral center. So I can walk in my shadow and be comfortable. And I've tried to play that forward with every fiber of my being, where I, have set up, as I did mentoring dinners. I continue to do them, where you can put an assistant at an agency next to a movie star, next to a top publicist,
Yeah.
next to a junior agent, next to a manager. And, I started this when I moved back to LA in the, 2016 or so. And they've become kind of, these kind of, the closest I've come to being an influencer, which, I have these legendary girls' dinners. The men of friends of mine are always saying, when can we get into these dinners? And, it's a way of, as you say, connecting people, but it's also a way of people know that they can call me. What do I do about this? I manage the managers. Agents call me up and say, how do I handle this? Actors, whoever it is. And it's all kind of, part of the journey, and the journey that I have really set out on at fissures in my life. I mean, I don't know if you know, but I had this great company with a lot of love that was based in New York and London. And at a certain point, in I think 2010, 2011, my then partner decided to close the company. And I had supported my child and my husband and lived in my then husband and lived in New York. And essentially, in my 50s, I had to start over, and literally start over, when I tell you, with practically nothing, because I had very nice lifestyle. And you know what? I basically supported my family and put my daughter through private school and kept a great apartment overhead. And it was very humbling and probably the most powerful step that I've ever made in my life spiritually in terms of my development. Where I always say, honey, you try living in an a 1 bedroom guest house over, the
Yeah.
family who lives in
Yeah.
front. I literally had to rebuild my life. And in rebuilding my life from flying private and flying to London first class time and time again, and having an expense account and having to rely solely on my wits and rebuild myself and not be humbled by it and not be embarrassed and wear it as a badge of honor, which I do. And I, always try to, and I use this word loosely with my little millennial friends. You know what, honey? You know, you work I worked 24 hours, 7 days a week. I would get on the phone at 10 o'clock in the morning. I would get at 10 o'clock at night, at 6 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was, I was willing to do it. And I think that work ethic, along with enjoying every minute of your life is if there's a message that I can give people, it's that nothing is owed to you, you know, and, everything is possible.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about, not interesting, but also so important about the story that you're telling and sharing about your life is that we don't ever like we I think that the big sort of like trick of life is that we think we've arrived at a destination and then the destination changes. And so
That
it
goalpost keeps
shifts and we have
moving.
to pivot. We have to pivot no matter what. I don't care if
Yeah,
you're in your
100%.
20s and you think you met the love of your life and you get married and then 5 years later it doesn't work out anymore and all of a
Yeah.
sudden you're 33 years old and having to kind of rethink that. Whatever it may be, we are constantly being tested, all of us, no matter what, to sort of reevaluate where we are, what the world is now, what we want now, how it feels now, how do we change that. And that is a certain resilience that I feel um, is just like like it's something that nobody can prepare you for. We all go through it differently because we're
Yeah.
all dealt a different set of cards.
And it
But I
doesn't
love your
stop.
resilience. I love your resilience, and I love that you pass that on to so many young people who we know. We've both shared different assistants and people that have
No.
worked with us who've come right out of college and wanted to work in the film business. And they would spend a year working with Hillary or with me, and we would literally help them kind of
Move
guide
on.
them into understanding what this business is about, what it means to do,
What it
film and
means to
television.
serve.
Yeah,
We all
yeah,
are serving, whether it's a higher power or an actress who's not happy, a movie star or whatever. But I think that the ability to jump the hurdles
yeah,
is there are people in life who they see the hurdle and they stop. It's like a horse that refuses to go over the hurdle. And it's those people who figure it out, whether they climb over the hurdle, they go around the hurdle,
yeah,
but you keep going. And in my life, for sure, I there were roads I didn't take that I could have taken that in hindsight were mistakes in terms of, the quality of my career, the money I would make, all of that. But it always was learning and I didn't stop. And I think, having lost both of my parents and what, uh, my ended a marriage and watched my daughter grow up and leave the house, all of those things have made me assess and look at things. And it is mutate or die. I mean, talking about our business right now, people who I remember when in 2007, where the business kind of fell apart, the economy fell apart, very similar to what we experienced with the COVID and then the strikes that we experienced.
yeah.
And there were people who had for those of you, I'm happy to have another conversation at some point where I explain the studio system to people. But the studio system has contracted for writers and producers who used to have what's called overall deals. All of that has changed. Films have changed.
Mhm.
Streaming services have really changed, really evolved. And that is all, again, we all used to rely on Netflix and Hulu and all of that stuff. Well, that's also changing with subscriptions and all of that. And there are people, friends of mine, who have second generation, third generation entertainment people, and they're like going to me, how do you keep going? How do you keep making stuff? How do you do? Well, I'm like, listen, honey, it's called mutate or die. And it is,
Right.
you have to look at what is, adjust yourself to
Right.
the truth of what is,
Right.
and operate within that,
Yeah.
scenario. And people who can't adjust themselves or adjust their business plan or adjust how to, realize you're not getting that $1 million producing fee. You're going to have to do 3 movies to get that. And there are no movies and all of that. And I think that for people who listen to us about whether it's the entertainment business or it's just surviving a divorce or surviving the death of a
Hi, everyone. I don't know what just happened, but we totally cut out. Let me try to get Hillary back. So weird. I don't know what happened. That's never happened before. Hi, hi, hi. Hi. Sorry, guys. I don't know what happened. Hillary, are you there? Come back. Come back. You were in the middle of a thought and it just completely cut out. Does pineapple belong on pizza? I'm going to answer some questions. I like pineapple on pizza. Yeah. Does it belong on pizza? I don't know. If you like it, anything belongs on it. Hold on. Hi from Florida. Hi. Somebody just wrote cyber attack. Freaked me out. That's never happened before. It just sort of immediately went into your thing has ended. I don't know why.
It's weird. Anyway, we're
Yeah.
back. We're
Anyway,
back.
we're back. So, okay. So let me ask you a couple questions. First of all, just a couple things. One, because people are asking some questions and I
Oh,
just wanted to throw it out to you. Like, what is a mentor of yours? What's the best advice some of the best advice you ever got in life about, work ethic or needing somebody asked, what's the best way to build a network, for instance? So,
well,
two
the
questions.
networking thing kind of came to me organically because I was very social. I think that um, in any kind of business, I always say, I meet these hedge fund guys. I mean, not the really brilliant ones, and you know who I'm talking about, but you meet these hedge fund guys, and is it their charm, their personality, their quality of being able to feel comfortable with themselves
Hmm.
that I think is so powerful. And that's something that all you can do is try to work on yourself to ease your anxiety. There are people who have genetic anxiety and tension, and you just need to reach deep and or find a job that works with that. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
what we do isn't for everybody. That being personable in life helps you. I always say, what does a producer do? To me, I always say, well, I get people to do what I want. I kind of am able to convince people that I'm right. Um, and it's really about listening and hearing and reading the room and being not more present for other people as opposed to your own needs. And I think that's very, very important to really watch it. Yes, sorry.
Reading a room is such an important skill set. Like I feel like that is something that a lot of people don't understand. So for those of you that like, because we've got Ireland here, we've got everywhere. So
Mm-hmm.
reading a room is the ability to walk into a space, right?
A meeting,
And be able to go ahead.
read behavior to
Read behavior. Read the feeling of that room, the sort of energy that people are in. Like if you come in all pumped and everybody is somber because they just went through something sad and you're not understanding that and you have to give a speech, you're probably not going to do very well
yeah,
because your tone is not matching what's in the
yes,
room. And part of that is also having the self-awareness to, learning about yourself in order to be able to, as you just said, not just be all about me, 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 but walk into a room and actually be able to read where people are at and meet them there. And
yeah,
that's a really important skill set. I feel like I don't feel like that's something that a lot of people get. And because again, and I say this all the time, even to my kids, like nobody is thinking about you as much as you're thinking about yourself. So
a hundred
if you
percent.
walk into the room and you're focused on your, what you have to do, or what who you have to talk to, you're absolutely not being present enough to read that room. And so I think that's
And
a real important skill set.
I think it's also, if enjoy yourself. I always say, if you're comfortable, if you're in your own skin, if you're walking in your shoes and you feel comfortable, and whatever you have to do to make yourself feel as comfortable as possible, it's very productive. I mean, we've gone to many events together, and it's like, what am I going to wear? You know what? I'm going to wear makes me comfortable, because trust me, honey, nobody's taking my picture. Because often they do, and I go, fuck, I should have worn something else. But it really is
No,
about,
you always look great. You're always on point. You look fab. You always look, you know what it is? You look classy, and you look great in the clothes that you choose for your body. And to
yeah,
me, style is all about that. Like we went to this event. Some people are asking how the event was, the Veuve Clicquot event we went to on Saturday, which was quite busy and a lot of people. And we
a
went,
lot of influencers.
lot of influencers. I don't know most of them. I'm so sorry. I
Mhm.
don't, but it's a
Different
different
million.
time, and there's a
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I always say I'm an accidental influencer. That's my
You're a
phrase.
very funny influencer, by the way. Hillary does have the funniest. You do have the funniest Instagram. During COVID, you made us laugh every single day
Well,
with your hot
I had the
handyman
cutest
and your
guys
hot.
coming. I would tape
Yeah.
them. I was like fixing up I just moved into my house, and I would come in. I'd say, "Will you take?" Now of course it would be harassment, but I'd go, "You want to take your shirt off for my followers?" Very funny. I
By the
have,
way,
I
completely illegal. Did you get permission from them
of
to
course,
post them?
Are you kidding? Of course. I'd say, "Do
Did
you
you
want
set
to?"
one of them up with a friend though? You said
I certainly
you did like you
did.
played Cupid
I
with
certainly did.
some people.
I also had my hot concierge doctor who would come in. He was always taken, and I'd say, this one, I had a filmmaker who came over and painted for me, and he was at that time potentially separated. I tried to fix him up. So, all of that is inappropriate and illegal, and I have learned my lesson, and I know that,
That,
but
that is a
where I
lie.
come
You are
from,
now lying. You would absolutely do it again tomorrow.
100%.
The hot electrician, the
Exactly.
the hot allergist.
I had this
Did you have a
wonderful
hot
guy.
allergist? Don't you have an allergist that's hot? Was that you, or is that somebody else?
I
Maybe not.
Well, I have my very hot concierge doctor,
Okay.
shout out to Dr. Abe Malkin. And now I have my very hot plastic surgeon dermatologist who's, 35 years old and single. And so, yes, I definitely, and then, of course, I have, my LGBT community, which supports me 100%, as you are. So I'm very good with that. I've had quite a few marriages, I have to say. I've fixed some people.
Not legal, but quite a few.
Exactly, exactly.
Um,
Um,
so we had fun at Veuve Clicquot, and one of the
we,
things Hillary and I, when we do go to events, because we are plus ones for each other very often, because it's
yes,
fun to go to an event with you
yeah,
because you are that person that knows a lot of people, and you never take it too seriously, and we walk in and we laugh and we enjoy it for what it is. So I feel like it's fun, but I do feel like whenever it's like, what do we wear? And I often most of the time dress myself
yeah.
and have my taste of things I like, or we'll share pictures of like, how does
Mhm.
this look or whatever. But I always think style comes from a place of feeling comfortable in what you're wearing.
Right. And
And
it
then there's some
also
go-to
has to be
pieces.
appropriate. I used to live in New York, and I was very lucky that I was mentored, believe it or not, a lot of these girls who are now the head VIP people for, major, thank God they love me, fashion houses. And they would, in the olden days, it was so funny. They would try to stuff me into the samples. And then finally we decided, okay, I'm never going to be able to wear the sample. I could always borrow, but I couldn't fit into them. And that was very telling for me. And I started to think, okay, what is age appropriate? I don't, for myself as a 5'2" woman of a certain age, I don't follow trends. I stick with what is classic. I always stick with what I think flatters my, somewhat short torso. And I think it also, as a woman, there's as you age, there's sexuality that I often see with women who are my age that I have to say, honey, pull it.
What do you wear?
What are you wearing? Um,
Like, I don't
but
think like, for instance, mini skirts. Like, I'm not into, you have to be, honestly, you have to be like, Christy Turlington.
yeah.
For me, to be over 50 and to be tall and lanky and gorgeous, like
Oh,
to wear like a
lovely.
mini skirt.
Oh,
Like,
darling.
I'm not into, I always felt like it made me look like a little stubby. Like, I'm
Yeah.
only 5'7". It made me look short. I don't
So
know.
what are
I'm
you
not
going to be
into it.
5'7"?
Even though I like my legs, like I feel like my legs are one of
Yeah.
I like my legs, but I don't feel like mini skirts are always, unless you're really tall
I
and
think
thin and,
you have to be very tall, and you have, at a certain point. I mean, I wear above the knee because I am so petite, and I do have pretty good legs for an old bag. But I agree. It's always about, you don't want to look at something in years to come on, in a photograph and go. So I just
But I
think
think
it's good.
young women, no matter what size, look fine.
Yeah.
Like I think it's like a young thing. Like I think in your 20s, when
Yeah.
you're young and wearing a little mini
I
skirt,
mean,
it feels more young. And I don't think that matters. I'm saying tall because as you age, I just feel like
you have to make
tall feels like,
adjustments. Like
yeah.
my daughter has the best style. I mean, I just
Oh
am
yeah,
like,
let's talk about Taylor's style because you said that Taylor is like the queen of picking the best stuff on
honey,
Amazon.
on Amazon. My daughter, Taylor Roosevelt, Instagram. She puts together. She'll walk in and I'll go, "Where'd you get that from?" Amazon. Where'd you get that from? She finds these things that look unbelievable, and then
Wow.
she puts it together, and it's innate. There's just she always wears. She doesn't wear a lot of pattern. She doesn't. She sticks with
Right.
classic colors, black, white,
Right.
cream,
Yeah.
gray. She works as a stylist for a very high end, bridal designer, and I think that I think having an eye is something that you can develop. I mean, you can develop your taste level, and I think that for young people out there, it's kind of like extraordinary. I'll go, that looks
Wow.
like Celine,
As
and she
long as it's
goes,
not fast fashion, because I just saw
I
that
couldn't agree
documentary
more.
of Brandy Melville. Have you watched that documentary?
Oh, honey, I have. There's another
Woo!
documentary that Livia first did years ago, which everybody should watch. I think it's called the cost of fashion now, or
The
something
cost of
like that.
fashion. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And it just really talks about how environmentally what we are doing with, the water that is used, that is polluted, that is in Bangladesh, that these workers are
Right.
exposing the children to. And then it comes to us, and then we take it to, we use it for, 2 minutes, and then we
Yeah.
send it to Haiti, where you think it's going to house someone, but in fact, it's really quite extraordinary. I couldn't believe more about that anymore. I mean, I keep my clothes forever, and the one thing my mother always taught me was, fabrics. Always look at the fabrics. But I think we're, off to.
I was the same because my dad was a tailor. So when he came to the States, he made clothes. So I remember when I wanted a pair of Guess jeans, and that was like the thing. And I was in high school or whatever, and junior high, I don't remember. And they had the little Guess tag with the question mark. Uh, and we went to the store and my dad touched the fabric, which was super embarrassing because he was like,
Yeah.
touching the fabric of jeans or whatever. And he said, this isn't that well made. Like, I can get you a pair. And I was like, no, I don't want another pair. I want this pair. It has a question mark on the bum. Like, that's the pair. That's all I wanted. So my dad was always that guy. He actually made my prom dress, which I have to find a picture of. I had an idea of a prom dress. I couldn't find it. And he made my prom dress. I designed it and he made it, which now is like, it feels so special. I
Yeah.
had this
Yeah.
idea of something. But he was always into the whole fabrics of everything. But I do think that fast fashion has gotten worse. And I definitely have been preaching to Lucia about that and about
Hmm.
saying, I'd rather you save up to get something of quality and keep
Yes.
it than to just be buying whatever it is for that weekend. Like I feel like there's like a lot of crap that's being thrown out. And now because of social and everything, people are just clicking, clicking, clicking to
Mm.
buy
Yeah.
whatever. And it's not good.
No.
And how can we, by the way, how can we tell the quality of something? Like I feel on Amazon, they definitely go through and do a lot of quality
Yeah.
control because they have
And
so
then,
much.
I don't know. I'm going back to my daughter where she finds these things. I mean, couple of like last year, she had this um baseball jacket, and I was like, "Oh, get me one of those." $20, $25 on Amazon. I put it together with a Lajon dress. I put it over what I was wearing, and everybody kept saying, "Is that Saint Laurent?" I was like, "Saint Laurent by way of Amazon." Love you, Saint Laurent. Shouting out that I'm thinking about buying a bag for my birthday. So I'm just saying that for those of you who work with Saint Laurent. But I do think it's being judicious, and I think it always comes back to the fabrics and the wearability. And just because it's inexpensive doesn't mean it's not fantastic.
Yeah.
I think that I I like to reduce and reuse, and I think that that's something that we should all do. That's why I tend to buy classics, and as I said, I don't follow I follow trends, but I don't follow moments.
Right.
And also when you get older, honey, you shouldn't be. No big coffee sleeves for me.
But also, don't we also go through? I feel like I go through phases where just certain things feel good and
Yeah,
others don't. Like I've always been very picky about material. Some things
yeah.
itch me and I don't like it. Like it has to fall right. Like I'm particular about even a
I think it
t-shirt.
just goes back
I'm
to the
super picky.
fabrication. I think it just goes back to, I mean, like, I never buy anything other than cashmere. If you can buy Dolce& and Gabbana cashmere, Ralph Lauren cashmere, you can
Yeah.
just, I'm talking purple
Yeah.
label. And I just believe in quality, and I keep my things forever, and pull them out of the closet. And I mean, I have dresses from the 50s that my mother had.
I
Of course, I can't believe it.
love that. I've taken some of my
Yeah.
mom's and Sophia's,
Yes.
vintage pieces
Yeah.
and I've
I love it.
retailored them and I wear them and they're so special. I have a dress of Sophia's that's a dress that she used to wear all the time to drop Eduardo off at school. Like it was her go-to dress.
Wow.
And it's a vintage Christian Dior, and I had it retailored, and it's
I
just like
love
the
that.
sweetest thing. Isn't that
Special.
special? But it
She is
shows
so
you
great.
how long things last because, you
If it's
know,
if they're made with quality,
yeah,
if they're made with quality.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, that's, we're off topic, but that's really what I
It's
think. I
all
think
on topic.
you reuse and renew, I think is very important, for all of
Okay.
us. I mean, I'm a big, faux environmentalist, and I really feel like we have to, Children of Men was basically a story about not taking care of our earth and what is to come if we don't pay attention. So I'm on you with that.
Well, a couple things. One is it seems that there's a lot of people's birthdays today. I
Oh,
know two of them are my cousins, Christina and Tiana. Hi,
oh,
guys. Happy birthday if you're
happy
listening.
birthday.
But there's a lot of other people that are writing in saying it's their birthday. So happy
Birthday,
birthday.
everybody.
Happy birthday. And then two more other questions and then we have to go. But like one, I just wanted to talk about what are you doing for your skin? Why is your skin is so glowy and
Thank you.
hydrated. What's up? What are
Well,
you using?
I'm very religious with my skincare, and I think that, and it's something that I came to later in life. I had acne as a young adult, child and a young adult, and I think and I had oily skin, which certainly has helped me. I mean, you
Yeah.
can't change that, but I am super religious with my skincare, which I use two product lines. I use the Root Beauty by Nancy Pellegrino, and it is based on a very simple system. They have an Instagram, and I use a gentle retinol every night, and and I use glycolic peels twice a
Oh
week. I
wow.
I also
It's all from the root.
well, the root for certain things. Then
Yeah.
I use Clé de Peau.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the creme, la
Okay.
creme. It's very expensive, but you can one bottle lasts you for a year.
Okay.
And then I use Dr. Robert Dorfman's products. He has a complete line of Korean skincare,
Oh,
and does these, the new thing right now is the salmon sperm facial,
stop it.
which I will,
Did you just
I'll
say salmon
salmon
sperm facial?
sperm facial. Okay, salmon sperm, and they inject. How they get the salmon sperm, I don't want to know, but this is the big thing right now. So I'll hook you up, in Beverly
I
Hills
want
to
to
get
try
that
that.
facial.
We're gonna do
Yeah,
a live. We're gonna do a
let's do it
live with our salmon
live.
sperm
Oh, for
facial.
sure. By the way, it's so bright in that office, honey. We don't need ring lights. I'm like, this is too much for a woman of a certain
But
age.
is it like a?
But
It's you. It's
it.
it's a facial with it. It's not just like a mask.
Oh, no, no, no. It's like
Okay.
injectables. They
Okay.
it's like micro needling with salmon sperm,
Somebody just said,
and
"Isn't that what Jennifer Aniston uses?" I
that
don't
is
know. Is
correct.
it?
And
It
if
is
it's good enough
correct.
for Jennifer, that is absolutely correct, darling.
Okay.
Available in Beverly Hills and other
Okay.
places. And he has a Korean skin. So I use his stuff during the day, and I use the root during the night. And I must say, I also use very, very high end uh, products on my skin. I use La Prairie foundation, which I love. Shout out to La Prairie. I use Clé de Peau as well on my skin. I use their
Yeah.
concealer on and off. And I really believe, I don't believe, no offense, in drugstore brands because of the chemicals and the quality of the things that is in there. And I do think when it comes to your face, number one is being religious about it and really using it. And my final line, guys, don't go in the sun. The sun that I experienced as a child is different than the sun that's out there
Right.
now. We've destroyed the ozone, and I wear sunscreen during the summer. When I go out for my morning walks, I wear hats.
Yeah. Me
I'm
too. I
not
started that.
crazy about it, but I use a foundation
Yeah.
that has a sunscreen. And I have to tell you, it's
It's
really, there's not a
it's a
day
big
go by
difference.
where somebody doesn't peer at me and go, "What do you do for your
Yeah.
skin?" And I think that look online for those products. You can DM me and I'll send them to you if anybody wants to know if you can't find them. And they're two great brands. And then I do Botox and filler judiciously twice a year, maybe three times. It's been stressful. And I started that in my late 40s, and I started early. I do it judiciously. I do it with somebody who has both of those people I mentioned, and they have a very light hand.
Yeah.
And I
Because you
think
don't
that
look like you look great and you look like yourself. You don't look
yeah,
like I'm not a fan. I think it's so strange that like so many young people are starting that so early. I think it's just weird because
yeah.
I don't know. Like I don't think that's
Well,
necessary.
just got I
And
just got I just got shot up on Friday, honey.
yeah.
And I don't look like a mask. Well, I'm going to work. I need to look good for my cast. So yeah, I mean I think I always say, be judicious, have a light hand, have a light hand with your makeup as you age, and use good quality products, and you can't
Yeah.
go wrong.
And
And
I
stay out
will,
of the
I'm
sun.
going to add to that that I think there's a lot, and I'm going to do an edit for everybody of products that are at a lower price point than,
And the
La
root
Mer and Clé de
is,
Peau.
yeah,
That,
yeah.
yeah, like, and
I'll,
the root is great. And also, I've spoken a lot about Olga Lorenzine's products,
mm,
which I feel are clean
yeah.
and I love her products. I feel like there are products at a lower price point that also are not
Yes.
that
The
aren't that level because I
one
do think Credit
product,
and all those are
there is
rather
one
expensive.
product that Clé de Peau
Gwyneth
makes, and it
has
is
great
in,
products. That Goop has great
yes,
products as
you
well.
must buy. I will stand by there, and I've used this for 30 years. The Clé de Peau stick concealer. I am
Oh yeah,
sorry. There's
that's my
nothing
favorite.
else
Yeah,
like it. There's
yeah,
nothing else
I
like it. It's
agree.
$70. It'll last you for a year. Don't buy coffee. Buy the Clé de Peau concealer. I'm telling you, it is the best beauty secret out there. It's
I'm
incredible.
wearing it right now,
And
actually. Yeah,
I
it's my
believe
daily
I believe that
little stick.
The La Prairie Caviar Foundation and Concealer, yes, it's expensive. It'll last you for a year. It is, you need a dot. It's just, it's well
Yeah,
worth
it's really great. It's my favorite one. I like the
it.
texture of it and
Yeah,
consistency. And I feel like
yeah,
it lasts all day. Like I just use
absolutely.
that as, whatever. So,
I use the
um,
root primer I moisturize, I put the light thing of the primer on, then I put those two products on, and I'm good for the day. And I don't use powder usually,
Yeah, I
very
never
little.
use powder. I feel like that dries me.
Yeah, yeah.
I just use I like the Ilia serum
I
foundation. It's
have
like a
that as
little
well.
serum
I use
foundation.
that when I'm just running around all day long. It's
Same.
very nice.
I
It's
just
got a,
put a little bit of that on with cream, and I don't, you know me, I don't wear a lot
yeah.
of makeup, so I do that and some. I
But
like there's
you
Ilia
just
and
really
there's
have to
another brand.
start for everybody. If you start using a retinol and you stay out of the sun and you use a mild retinol, if you can tolerate it every night or every other night, and you do a glycolic peel at least once a week, you're going to, rejuvenate your skin. And that's what it is. I mean, I will never reveal how old I am. This lady knows what that number is because she's been to a lot of my birthday parties. And I'm telling you, I've changed the texture, my pore size, everything. I cannot believe I'm
Yeah,
getting
you look
less
amazing.
hair.
You look amazing. You look literally better. I told you this. We were out with all like a lot of young people. You look better than people like decades younger than you. Your skin looks
No.
insane. Really, really
Well,
insane.
I
So,
take care of it. I'm religious and I stay out of
yeah.
the sun. So
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you can choose the products you want. Just make sure that they, aren't irritating you.
Yeah.
And, listen, spend a little money on your face and it'll come back to you.
Yeah,
You
I
can just
actually also
figure it out.
I also do think that like just our skin and everything is something that when we talk about clothes or spending on that, I would rather spend
Mm-hmm.
on, just feeling good. If
Yeah.
we feel good in our skin and take care of ourselves, like
Yeah.
that's, instead of like, I see
And I,
people who are totally like not taking care of themselves, but then they have just like, the greatest nails that cost them so much money every week. And I'm like, well, maybe don't do the nails, but take care of your skin or take care
maybe
of,
don't get, no offense,
whatever.
Starbucks. Don't spend $10 a day on Starbucks. I mean,
That's
things like that.
big one right now. We were just talking about that. That's a big one right now
For
because I
young
mean it is a lot. It
people.
does add up when you look at your weekly budget. It does.
I mean,
It's a
people
lot. It
spend
adds up.
literally, you go out, you get a cup of coffee, $5, $6, $7. Okay, think about doing that 5 days a week. And I never got into that. I mean, I drink coffee, but I make it at home. I don't usually buy it out there. The other thing that I think it's important to do is, I can't believe that I'm talking about health and
Somebody
beauty,
just
but
wrote, as a financial advisor, I approve of this message.
DM me, baby. I'm always looking for a good investment. I also take vitamins. I take NADS. I take Seed probiotic, which I absolutely stand up for. It's excellent. I've taken a million
Yeah, seed's
probiotics.
great.
Take
I
that every
use
day.
seed too.
Seed
Yeah,
is great. NADS is great. I use True NADS. Which I know there's a lot of debate on, but at this point I'll do whatever. And then I take a multivitamin, and I do have a regime of, vitamin therapy that I do
great.
every day. Nothing crazy. I take a B, take a D. Many women, because we aren't going to, and out in the sun, you need to take a vitamin D, and a lot of women of a certain age are vitamin D. So I
Yeah.
just think, do whatever you can.
Not
I mean,
even just
I
women
truly,
of a certain age, they're
yeah,
actually kids.
yeah,
I know for Leonardo, there's the doctor was just saying like kids need vitamin D. We all need vitamin D.
yeah.
Like if we're not outside or if you live somewhere where,
Mhm.
it's muggy. And by the way, like we're in sweaters today. I put on this really cute sweater, which I'll show you that
Really cute.
that our friend Julianne got me for my
Oh, really?
birthday, and I've never worn
Like,
it. And
I
how
love
cute
it.
is it? Because it's
It's so
cold, it's
cute.
muggy,
Darling.
and
And I
foggy in
was I was
LA.
wrapped up like I was
Yeah,
ready for winter
I
when I
know.
went out yesterday. It's great.
I
I
know.
love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Um, okay, so we're gonna wrap up, but you're the best. See, we could
Have
talk to you
I
all the time. I think you should
been
be
your
like a
best
regular
interview ever?
guest.
Are they gonna
Yeah,
want
you
me
should be
back?
like a regular guest that comes
I
in.
should
You
come in
give us
monthly.
all this like
Oh,
hardcore advice.
okay.
You
I
just kind
want
of hit
those
it. We ask you a
DMs to
question.
Sasha
Yeah,
asking for a redo.
yes.
Okay. I mean,
We're
I
gonna
can talk about everything. I'm a doctor. I'm a lawyer. I'm an advisor. Apparently, oh, look, regular guest, late night. Yes, I think I should
You
do
are a
one
therapist. You are
once
a
a month.
therapist. You're
I'm a
definitely a
therapist.
therapist. You know what? You're also really great at. You're great at sort of figuring out, like, hey, this thing isn't working. Like, how do I do this? And you help people sort of wrap their head around what we talked about is like
Life
pivoting and
coach.
figuring something else out. A life coach.
Yes.
That's what I was looking for. Not a
We should
therapist, a
do
life
something where
coach.
people can like we'll choose a topic. We should do this once a month or whenever. We can have a special Fridays with Hillary, and they can send in questions and
Yeah.
we can answer them because as in conclusion, oh look, Hillary wants you every week. Am I everybody's favorite? Has this been best guest ever? I'm not
Best guest
kidding.
yet.
Love this.
Most inspiring, by the way. I said most inspiring talk
I'm it.
ever.
I'm loving this. I love this. This is much more fun than a Zoom conference about people's careers. I love it. I'm here to support you, everybody. Next time I might get a blow dry, and Sasha has been my heart since we met all those years ago, and I always say to her the journey and the choices that she's made and that the universe has brought to her has really what makes her the most successful is not anything other than the quality of her relationships, her wonderful kids, her wonderful marriage. And I'm not off to rob a bank. What the fuck? It's a beanie. It's fashion. Um, but getting back to you, that the quality of your relationships and the beauty of how you've raised your children, who are so wonderful, and I can't tell you, you are a success in every aspect of your life, and I'm very happy to be your friend and call you my
Thank
friend.
you. Thank you, Hillary. Thank you. And we all love you over here, including Margot, because I will just say that Hillary is Margot's
I'm
auntie
her
because when
favorite
we
person.
brought
You have to
Margot
admit.
home, this little puppy pup, and they just gave, long story, but they gave it to us and we came
This
home. We said,
ass.
what do we do? And then Hillary came over, and whenever we travel, we usually let Auntie Hillary, Margot loves to go over and play with Indiana and all of
Yes.
her gorgeous dogs. So thank you for always being, a
Martha.
family
Well,
member.
the backstory of that is Eduardo, I would say, get those children a dog. Get those children a dog. And, and Sasha's husband was like, oh, well, we had German Shepherds, but they stayed outside all the time. I said, we're not talking about an attack dog, Eduardo. We're talking about a little dog. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, I get this video of this dog that came home with them that night. And I had to rush over the next day and explain to the children who were very young at that point. They were young how the doggy was a baby, but we got through it. And Margot is adorable.
She's the
But I have to say,
best.
there's two dogs who friends have who, when I walk into the house, run to me and stick
She
on me.
she
Yours and Ken
rolls
Williamson's
over.
dog.
She
Yeah,
rolls
she
over
rolls
and gets a
over.
full belly
Yeah,
rub,
yeah.
like rub down. She needs like a Hillary rub
Dogs
down.
love me. Children, I'm not so sure about, but dogs definitely love me. So there might be something in that. So, all
All right. Well,
right.
thank you so much for all of your wisdom
My
and humor
pleasure.
and everything. Everyone clearly loved you, so we'll just do this very
Let's do
soon.
it again. I'm
And we'll
telling
pick
you, I think I
another
should be a
topic.
regular.
I'll do a little survey and we'll talk
Yes.
about other things. And
Yes.
thank you guys all for hanging in. We've been going for an hour now. um, thank you guys for showing up today, and I wish you a blessed day,
Happy
a happy
birthday,
day,
guys.
joyful day, all
Happy
good things.
birthday. Everybody have a
Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful day and a wonderful week. And let's just go out and vote.
Yes.
Vote for whomever
Go.
you
If you're in
want.
America,
You're in America.
vote, vote,
You have the right
vote.
to vote. So I don't whatever your choices are yours, but please, all the young people in the world need to register to vote and vote with their heart and use your voice. You have a voice, seize the opportunity. We as women fought to get the vote. Let's not forget it. Let's not throw out what generations that came before us fought so hard for. So everybody, do vote for whomever you want. Do what you feel is right, but get out there and have your voice heard. It's very important at this time.
Thank you,
Okay,
Hal. Thank you.
darlings.
Okay, lots
All
of
right.
love. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. How do I turn this off, darling?
The
Fine.
the X in the corner.
Okay. Now, all right. I'm gonna leave. You want to leave? All right.